What if I told you that the real history of a nation isn't just written in books? It's cooked, it's eaten, and it's shared on our plates. Every single meal, whether it's Thanksgiving dinner or just a slice of pizza, tells this hidden story of migration, of struggle, and of who we are. Okay, so let's dive right in. And to do that, we have to rewind the clock way, way back, long before any European ships ever reached these shores. We're going to explore the huge, really sophisticated food systems that were thriving here for thousands of years. So this story doesn't begin in a colony. It begins on a continent where millions of people weren't just, surviving off the land. They were actively managing it. I'm talking clearing forests, building irrigation canals, planting massive fields, all to create this incredible abundance. To really get a handle on this incredible culinary story, we're going to trace it through these 6 distinct chapters, and you'll see how each one adds this whole new layer of flavor and complexity to the American plate that we all know today. Check this out. This is a perfect example of indigenous agricultural genius. It's called the Three Sisters, and it's a totally symbiotic system. The corn provides a stalk for the beans to climb. The beans put nitrogen back into the soil to fertilize everything, and then the big squash leaves shade the ground, which blocks weeds and keeps it all moist. It's just brilliant. And this is so important to understand. There was never one single native cuisine, not even close. From the clam bakes happening in the Northeast to bison hunting on the plains, it was this huge continent of different regional traditions, and each one was perfectly adapted to its own unique environment. Okay, so next up, everything changes. We're going to see how the arrival of Europeans kicked off one of the most significant biological and cultural transfers in all of human history, and how it completely remade what the entire world ate. Now, this whole exchange, it was a massive two-way street. It wasn't just about what was brought to the Americas, it was also about what the Americas gave to the rest of the planet. And believe me, it permanently changed diets everywhere. Just think about it for a second. So many foods that we think are essential to certain cultures, they just wouldn't exist there without this exchange. Can you even imagine Italian food without tomatoes or Irish food without potatoes? Both of them came from right here in the Americas. But we have to be really clear about this. This exchange had a dark, violent side. It was built on the forced migration and labor of enslaved Africans. And their culinary knowledge, brought here completely against their will, would go on to fundamentally shape what we call American cuisine. Enslaved cooks weren't just cooking. They were the main architects of what we now know as Southern cuisine. This quote just captures it perfectly. Their incredible resilience, creating flavor and community and pure sustenance, all in the face of just unimaginable hardship. So this is how it happened. Ingredients like okra and black-eyed peas, entire dishes like gumbo, and cooking techniques like deep frying, they all have roots in West Africa. They became the absolute foundation of what we now call soul food in Southern cooking. It's really a story of survival and incredible culinary innovation. All right, let's fast forward a bit to the huge waves of immigration in the 19th and 20th centuries. For millions of people coming to a new land, food was so much more than just something to eat. It was a lifeline to home and a bridge to their new life in America. And this is where you can really see it in action. So many so-called foreign dishes got woven right into the fabric of American identity. Italian pizza becomes an absolute American staple, German sausages become hot dogs, and Chinese stir-fries evolve into what we know as American Chinese food. And this really gets at the heart of it, this process of mainstreaming. A dish like pizza starts out as being very distinctly Italian, and then over time it just becomes American. It's a journey that so many of our favorite foods have actually taken. Okay, so now imagine taking that whole melting pot and putting it on a factory assembly line. That's pretty much what the 20th century did. Technology, war, and this brand new need for speed. It completely changed how and what Americans ate. You can literally watch the evolution here. It's this massive cultural shift in action. We moved from the farm to the factory, and our food had to follow. All of a sudden, the priorities were convenience, standardization, and a diet that was built for a super fast-paced lifestyle. And what's really wild is how these huge moments of national crisis and prosperity showed up right in our kitchens. Think about it. Boxed mac and cheese born out of the Great Depression, TV dinners from the post-war boom. These weren't just products. They were solutions to the biggest challenges of the time. And the results of all this? Well, get this. By the end of this era, the average American was eating about 3 hamburgers every single week. That pretty much cemented fast food's place right at the center of the national diet. But of course, for every action, there's a reaction, right? And that brings us to today, where we're seeing this fascinating backlash against that industrial food system. It's almost like we've come full circle, and it's sparking a whole new kind of culinary revolution.
It's like Americans are looking backward in order to move forward. We're seeking out authentic flavors again. We care about sustainable practices, and we want to know the real stories behind what we eat. Honestly, it's a really powerful way to reconnect.
This just shows that the American plate is still cooking. It's still evolving. From a new focus on sustainability and health to the rise of incredible cultural fusion and even modern indigenous cuisine, it's all becoming more diverse, more conscious, and way more complex than ever before. It really reflects a nation that's always redefining itself.
So, when you put it all together, what you realize is that every single plate of food really does tell a story. In the end, the American plate is a living archive. It's this delicious and, sometimes difficult record of our entire history, a history of synthesis, of struggle, and of incredible innovation. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. The food we choose to make and eat today, that's the history of tomorrow. What story will our plates tell?